Welcome back to JB Reviews. It is time to start doing some testing with my 2024 Chevy Silverado L8T. So the truck now has about 842 miles. I'm actually headed to go fill up the tank. It is raining today, and yeah, I guess we'll have to see how it does. I had mentioned in the video that I was still learning how to drive this truck, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys are wondering what I meant by that. So I'm going to point out the obvious. Because I am a diesel fanboy, I am used to that torque off the line. And that is something that I've had to learn about this truck is, even though it does have more like acceleration like off the line, because there is a dead spot with the Duramax at 0. So for me, I find that this truck does give me better performance there. But where I'm talking about is when I'm getting on to like the interstate or something like that, I'm giving the truck too much throttle response. I'm like at wide open throttle all the time. So my fuel economy is suffering because of that. So I've had to learn to kind of cut back a little bit with that. Something else to consider is this. When I got the truck, the tires are at like 60 to 62 PSI, which is kind of low for this type of truck. And I want to say that probably was affecting the fuel economy. So I did raise it to 70 PSIs up front, and I kept the rears at 80. Now, because it's a little bit chillier today, it is showing 77, looks like, yeah, 77. And I have noticed a little bit better fuel economy with this truck. So we're gonna go ahead and fill up today. I am gonna be using 91. I know a couple people say don't put premium in the truck. It's gonna make the truck perform worse. That's not true, guys. Like, I'm serious when I say this. If you are saying that online, please provide the data. This truck is recommended for 87 or higher. The manufacturer says it, and that's why I use 91. Now, I won't use 91 all the time. I'll probably drop down to 88, but while I'm doing my towing test, things like that, I do want to use 91. And then at some point, I'll switch to 88, and I'll use that for a while and see how it goes. So here's one negative about owning a gas and a diesel truck at the same time. I always have to remember what truck I'm driving, because I had picked up that diesel nozzle a couple times with this truck. Now, I didn't put it in there, but I almost did. And I'm super happy that I don't have to use this crap anymore. Like, I am done with this. When I get another diesel in the future, I might delete it. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do it. I have to find a state that's delete friendly. $97.57. So let's top it off one last time. Oh, not $100 today. Pretty much every time I fill up this truck, it's been at about $100. Like, this truck is so expensive to operate because it does not get that good gas miles. Now, I will say, after airing up the tires, it has helped. And I might go to the full 80 all the way around, because that does help a little bit with fuel economy. So, oh, gotta get my receipt. Now, despite what some people have been saying in the comment section about me not liking this truck, I actually don't really mind it as much as I did at first. When I got my GMC, I was really sad because I didn't like the interior as much as my Ram. And I really was kind of going backwards with that truck with that. But I actually found that interior very welcoming. The same thing goes with this gas engine. Like, there's a lot of pros that you have to understand. Like, basically when I bought this truck, I basically had an even swap. And if I would have gotten a diesel, well, I would have had to pay another $10,000 out of pocket. So you have to consider that to an extent. Another thing is this truck does have really good low end torque. It's a little bit quieter than the diesel, and it's just easier to live with day to day, because in the past, having diesel, I don't normally cut through town. I normally go further out and I hit the highway so I can stay on there a little bit longer, because I don't want the truck to go into a region. With the gas engine, I don't have to do that anymore. I can actually save more time. I don't know if I'm saving more gas, because obviously city driving is going to give you more fuel economy, but I don't have to go out my way to make sure my diesel doesn't have issues in the future, you know? And I mean, granted, I guess I shouldn't care about these things, but I guess I look at it like this. I know you guys might think this is weird, but you know, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So just because I don't own my trucks for long periods of time, I still want to take care of them, because obviously someone else is going to own the truck. You know, I don't want to give someone a bad apple, but at the same time, I would do this whether I own a car long or not. So it just feels better for me. It's peace of mind. I do like the fact that this truck does handle better with a higher PSI in the tire. It is softer with the lower PSI, but I actually like it better. I might max it out to 80, honestly. I don't mind it. I'm just so used to driving Ram trucks, which drive really rough, that I don't mind it. And this truck is soft regardless whether you have the 80 PSI or not. I did a short showing you guys how to use a downhill assist. You guys should go check out that video. I thought it was kind of cool. And one thing that I noticed was the transmission got really hot using downhill assist. I think it got to like 180, 190 degrees. Right now, we've only been driving for about, 15 minutes maybe? Yeah, 10 minutes. And that's not including the 5 minutes that took me to get to the gas station. But yeah, the transmission is nice and chilly. And 58 degrees outside is probably one of the biggest factors to that. One thing I've mentioned in the other videos doing testing is this 10-speed is buttery smooth. That's one thing I think you're going to love about this new transmission behind the L8T gasser. It's really smooth. And I think that, like, even when you go to accelerate, it doesn't have a lot of power, but it does downshift really fast, almost a little too fast. You know, with turbos, like it spools up and then you have that instant power, that instant torque. But with this one, it just takes a little bit longer. You know, it's just not as good. Is the best way to put it. But we're at 16.9 MPG, and that ain't bad. And I'm telling you, ever since I aired up these tires, that was probably the biggest improvement with this truck. This Ford Super Duty here has Roush on the side, and I think this is a gas engine too. It's an F350. I can see it has the overload leaf springs right there, and it says Roush. I wonder if I should Roush this truck. This truck needs about, I would say 75 horsepower would be more than enough, but it just needs a little bit more performance. I think 401 horsepower for a 8,000 pound truck, I think they should have really thought that through a little bit more. Especially with the 10-speed. Now, I've heard on the Ford side of the house that the 10-speed only went up by like 50 pounds or so, like probably not even that much, or maybe in that ballpark. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but I would expect that the 6L90 not to be that much heavier than this Allison transmission. But we'll have to do that research at some point. But this truck does feel sluggish. And I don't know if I mentioned this on video yet. One time I was trying to get around a Nissan Titan, and he was just going way too slow. So I got over and I basically floored it. And he must have took that as I wanted to race. So he decided to basically floor it too. And I was pretty much passing him. And then all of a sudden I heard him go wide open throttle and basically pass me. And it was really embarrassing. I was like, are you kidding me? And I know that truck is probably like 2,000 pounds lighter than this one is, but it's the fact that this truck just does not have a lot of power up in the, higher RPMs. Now, I have mentioned there might be an issue with this truck. There might be. Like, I don't want to make any excuses, but it just seems a little too slow. Like, I need to drive another truck. Hopefully Jerry Seiner will get another 10-speed 6.6 gasser in, and I'll be able to do some testing with it and see if there's a difference. Because if there's a noticeable difference between the two trucks, I might take my truck into service and see if there's any issues with it, and maybe do a compression test or something. But it's not throwing any codes. It's really sluggish. And after seeing that Roush from the side of that Ford Super Duty, I'm like, you know what? That could be an option in the future. I will be to the interstate in probably about 5 minutes or so. And maybe I'll do a 0 to 60 run today, and we'll see how it does. Like, it's 61 degrees in this area. We'll see if there's a better 0 to 60 time today, because I am interested to see, maybe with the truck having a little bit more miles, because the last time I did those tests, the truck still only had like 300-400 miles on there or so. And like I said, it was definitely slow. Like, I did a test with a 6-speed. It was a 2022 L8T 6-speed, and that truck did almost as good as the 7.3 did. Like, the 7.3 cleaned up when I did all the testing. The Hemi was 3rd place, this was last place, but the Ford 7.3 first, and then the 6-speed was 2nd place, which, again, this truck is brand new, so I expect there to be some type of limitation maybe, but I don't know, we'll have to see. Like right now, I just went up a grade and now we're going back down. I'm at 15.8 for fuel economy. Lately, when I've been driving this truck, like I said, I've been driving more in the city. I've been getting like 11. And I think with the diesels, like when I was kind of going through the city sometimes, I was getting like 14, 15. So it's not a huge difference. But, you know, I mean, 14, 15 is a lot better than 11 in the city. And on the highway, I mean, shoot, the dually, I mean, my goodness, that dually has been getting like 18. And I did actually fill up one time and top back off, and it was showing about 17.8 MPG. I was like, holy smokes. Now that was like a lot of like going downhill coming from my house, because we live pretty far up. And when I got to the interstate and got to the dealership, I just went and topped off, and that's when I noticed, like, holy smokes, like this truck is literally getting like 17, 18 miles to the gallon. One thing that I've noticed from my Ram to the GMs is the build quality of these trucks. Like when you slam the doors and just the overall ergonomics, I think it's just a little bit more upscale. Like the GMC I own, I never heard a creak or crack inside that truck at all. And I mean, this truck is too new to really give updates on that, because, you know, once you start towing with the truck, once you start putting a lot of load on it, that's when you start to really, like, I guess, loosen up, you know, the structure of it, more or less. But my Ram, it did have some, you know, creaks and crannies here and there, like really just on the front dash. That's where it came in at, but never in the GMC, never had that issue. And I think with the new interior, like this truck is not only beautiful, but it's super easy to use. Like the 13.4-inch display is something that you're gonna see soon. You know, I have tire pressure monitoring on my fifth wheel, and you can have your navigation up with that. It's just a really well thought out truck. And that's something that GM has always kind of been, is a well thought out truck. Even though, you know, they really did kind of screw themselves with their interiors, they still sold a lot of trucks. And I mean, despite what people say online, like Matthew Anderson always says this, like there's more hate online than there is in actual real world. I got a lot of comments on my GMC, like even the interior wise, like people thought that truck was really nice. I mean, and don't get me wrong, it was nice until you saw a Ram. But even think about the tires that they put on these trucks. Like these Goodyear Wrangler Trail Runners are amazing. Great appearance, but not only that, they have the right amount of aggression to them too. So, and they were well too. Like I probably towed, I think 6 or 7, probably more, no, I think I towed like 8,000 miles with that truck. I had 14,000 miles total, but I think I towed like 8,000 miles. I should have looked at it. Darn, I should have looked at it before I traded it in. But yeah, I towed a lot, and the tires were, I mean, I probably would have had to replace them at about 40, maybe 40,000 miles, but I expect that when you're towing this much. I mean, when you're towing almost 50%, actually a little bit over, because I did a cross-country trip, I mean, it did well. Now, before I do the 0 to 60 test, I want to mention something. When I was in Maryland, every truck that I tested 0 to 60 on did a burnout. I have not witnessed any truck other than the Ford 7.3 doing a burnout out here, because again, we're so high above sea level that it affects the performance of these naturally aspirated engines. So normally the diesels don't do a burnout, because that boost doesn't normally kick in until about 15 miles an hour, and at that point you're pretty much already rolling a good bit. So that's probably why. But most of the gas trucks I've tested have not done a burnout. So when we do it here, know that it's raining today. And yeah, I may not do it today. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I might not. You know what? Let's do it. Let's see how it does. That way you guys can get an idea of how well these Goodyear tires perform when it's wet. I just left Jerry Seiner. I had to drop off the other key from my GMC, which is right there actually. Truck's for sale if you want it, guys. Nice truck. But we're gonna do 0 to 60 now. Let me go ahead and set up so we can see what the time will be. I'm at 16.4, and now I have to head to Harbor Freight to buy some jack stands. Here we go.
$30. $60. Quarter mile.
Yeah, this truck is definitely underpowered, But it's not a bad thing. I mean, this is not a race truck, and I'm not trying to prove that it is or isn't. I'm just saying that for the amount of performance it has, I would expect more. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it should be somewhere in that, you know, 8-second range, 8.5, 9 seconds. I mean, if it was at 9.5, I'd be okay with that. But 10, almost 11 seconds, it's pretty bad. Oh, and by the way, the roads are not wet. So if you're thinking maybe because the roads are wet, no, it's dry out here and 69 degrees. Now we're headed home and we're in a little bit of traffic. It just started raining for the first time again since I've been on the highway, but we are at a steady speed. Here's where we are right now. 48 miles driven at 40 miles an hour average and 14.7 MPG. So all in all, I mean, hey, this is a gas truck and that is not bad. I'm actually happy with that number, but we'll see what the pump says when we get back to the gas station. And we're gonna pretty much end off at the same place that we started. Something new with the Chevy Silverado for 2024 is the option to be able to do radar cruise control. In the past, they did not have this. So what you have to do is you have to hold this button down to engage it. So now it says adaptive cruise control. So now you can set the speed of what you want it at, and it will actually do all the braking for you, things like that, acceleration. And the way you turn it off is the same way. So all you have to do is hold this button down again. So if I hold it down, regular cruise control. So the only time I really use that system is if I'm on the highway and the speed limit is like 55 miles an hour or less. Because like I said, I was using it for a little bit just to see, and you know, it's just consistently going up and down, up and down. So when you're driving on a highway, 55 miles an hour is the speed limit, and everyone's going pretty much the same speed, that's when those systems work the best, because when the light comes up, you can pretty much allow the truck to slow you down, which is really nice. So we're back to where we started. 84.7 miles driven, 14.7 MPG, average 44.3 miles an hour. All right, let's see what we burn. I think it's gonna stop at 5 gallons. 5 gallons. Nope, almost. Let's wait 30 seconds and we'll top off. Top off. Almost 6 gallons, wow. Not bad, so 5.768. Yeah. Look what I got today, guys. I just picked it up real quickly. We gotta get some propane for the RV that's getting rented out tomorrow. So what's the math? Calculator. So, oh, actually I gotta turn the truck back on. Let's see what it is. Oh yeah, so 84.7 miles.
84.7
divided into 5.768. 14.68, which is basically the exact same as the computer. So when I do my test, like I tell you guys, if you're not idling and you're not doing a lot of stop and go traffic, it's pretty accurate. So 14.7 is not bad. Now when I did it with my dually, I did stop quite a bit, and I was idling because I had to run power to some of the RVs at the RV dealer because for some reason my generator wasn't powering them. So hope this was helpful. I do like this truck, and I think airing up the tires a little bit does help. Now I will be honest here, I did not take the other way home. I took the long way, because if I took the other way I probably would have got less than 14, because there's a lot of stop and go and you're just going up a lot of grades the whole way to my house. So it's really like bad on fuel economy, but it's quicker, so I still take that way. But be sure to stay tuned, got some towing videos coming, and yeah, anything else you guys may want to see or know about the truck, let me know in the comment section. I'll try to check it in the next couple of days. Later.